All right. Good evening, everyone. We will officially get started with our 2024 pre-camp leaders meeting for Camp Famous Eagle, one of our camps at SBRF Scout Ranch. My name is Matt Kaufman. I'm the camping director for the council. Also serve as the ranch director in the summer there at SBRF. So overseeing the operations of the programs and camps as they take place each summer. With us tonight also, you will see our camp director for Camp Famous Eagle, Jordan Rude, as well as our program director for 2024, Friedrich Owen. So we will each share different parts of the presentation tonight. That way you don't get too bored of just hearing my voice this entire time. And hopefully we answer as many questions as we can to help you and your unit prepare for a great summer activity or a great summer camp at Famous Eagle this year. So we are very excited to have you all attending camp. Obviously that's why we run our camps. We want to see people in them each summer, earning badges, taking part in different activities, learning, meeting new friends and all as they participate in their week-long camp experience. So we're just thrilled to have everybody and ready to share some great information with you tonight. The first part of this evening is going to be a lot of just general camp information, dates, leadership information, etc. And then I will turn things over to Jordan and Freed to cover more of the Famous Eagle specific camp program information that we want to pass along as well. So with that, the first thing that we're going to mention tonight is the Camp Leaders Guide. These have been posted online since about December 1st. The QR code that you see on the screen, you can scan and bring that up if you want to while you're looking at this tonight. You can also find them all online at stlbsa.org/camps. The front cover, that's what you're looking for. If you go to that /camps page, you'll look for Scouts BSA Adventuring Summer Camps, and then click on the drop down for Camp Famous Eagle, scroll down, and you can find the link there as well. But the QR code makes it much quicker. So I'm going to leave that for just a moment to allow any of you that might want to grab that if you're sitting on your computer and have your phone available and want to see that. It's got all the information that we'll talk about pretty much is in that leader's guide, including all the merit badge class catalog for the year and general information about the camp and operations there. One thing you'll notice in that guide are some important dates that are coming up rather quickly. In one case, being about 3 weeks or 2 weeks, something like that, 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks away is our early bird savings day. That is April 10th this year. What that day is if a scout pays in full for summer camp on or before that April 10th deadline, they receive a $20 discount off their fee. So we want to make sure as many families as possible know about that date and can get those final payments taken care of before April 10th so that they can save that $20. For the Greater St. Louis Area Council units attending, our council does have a campership program that can cover up to half the cost of the week of summer camp. That is an online application that you can fill out or the families can fill out right in the registration system to apply for that assistance. We want to encourage as many youth that might need that assistance to apply. We don't want a financial reason to be preventing a scout from attending a camp this summer. So whether it be for Famous Eagle this year as you're attending there, or if you have scouts attending other camps, know that process is available for them. It's well over, I think, $123,000 that we gave council-wide last year for camper assistance through the campership program. So that application deadline is May 1st. So make sure that you're getting those submitted prior to that. And then one other deadline that I wanted to mention tonight to everyone, just to reiterate, May 31st is when we want all of those final payments due. So anyone that doesn't take advantage of that early bird savings day, May 31st, get those payments done before that. The fee does increase after that date. Since we're so close to the camp at that point, there is a little bit added to help cover things. So again, make sure that that is done prior to the end of May. This got emailed out to all the people that were registered that we had emails for in the registration system, adult wise at least, that our pre-orders for 2024 camp t-shirts are now online at gatewaytraders.org. Those pre-orders will be live until April 26th. Do encourage you to go online and make those orders if you wish to have those shirts ahead of time, or just want to make sure that you get the shirts in the sizes that you need. Sometimes we try our very best to make sure that the trading posts are stocked properly to last through the summer, but it doesn't always happen. Sometimes we get surprised with different sizes being more popular, but pre-ordering will guarantee you the number of shirts in the right sizes that you need. You can see the current year design for the Camp Famous Eagle, SBRF, and I threw Camp Gamble on there t-shirts so that you are aware of what those are. But again, gatewaytraders.org, where you find a lot of camp branded merchandise, council branded things, as well as other items like BSA handbooks and all now that we have online for sale. So if you do that pre-order, we don't place the order until that pre-order window closes. So it will be mid to late May before orders start shipping when we actually get the product in. So just know that timeline if you pre-order so you know what to expect. Sorry, lost my mouse for a second. Want to cover some, whoops, this apparently had animation on it. Sorry about that. Let me just bring all of those up. Wanted to talk about troop leadership requirements just to make sure everyone is aware of the policies of the Boy Scouts of America for summer camping and any camping really that takes place. So each unit must have at least 2 registered leaders who are at least 21 years old. In days gone by, there was one that could be 18, but now they both do have to be 21. They do have to be registered in the unit they are camping with. So it couldn't be one of your second leaders, or one of your leaders can't just be like a merit badge counselor is registered. They have to be registered in the unit that they're attending with. So that way their chartered organization has approved that person as a leader in that unit to be providing leadership to the scouts in that unit. If you have a female troop, obviously you must have at least 1 registered female leader who is at least 21 years old. The others can be males without a problem. And then new as of last September, any adult who is staying overnight at all for any Scouts BSA camping activity, whether it be summer camp or a weekend camp out, any adult who will be staying overnight must be registered member of the BSA. So just make sure that you're aware of that change in particular for this year's summer camps, and make sure you take the time ahead of camp to get those leaders registered. It does take a few days for the whole process to work out. And recently the national organization also updated that if you are in that pending where you've submitted the application but the background check has not been returned yet, you are not supposed to start interacting with the youth at the unit level until that clears. So it takes a few days. So don't expect to be able to show up at camp and register someone because of that slight delay. If you have any concerns about meeting that leadership standard, please reach out to Jordan or myself if you need to. We will do whatever we can to work with you to make sure that we're able to still help you get coverage or whatever it might need to be for the duration of your stay at Famous Eagle this summer. Next, we're going to talk some of the registration steps that are taking place now until summer camp begins that we want to make sure everyone is doing. The first one is really, really important for us, and that is ensuring your numbers are accurate. There are several troops across the council attending different summer camps that have registered more members than what they have registered in their troop. And that makes me a little bit nervous as we get into the camping season to think the numbers might be a little inflated. We want to have the right numbers as soon as we can. So a few steps there. You can add members as you need to as we approach summer camp. That's not a problem at all. Adding people, if you have any issues with that, you can reach out to us, either myself, or you can just shoot an email to help@stlbsa.org. That will go to our council support staff, and they'll be able to help get those spots added on for you. You should be able to do it within your unit registration, but there's sometimes we run into strange things where there's a limit on a campsite and maybe we need to bump it by a couple, or it says the week is full. Well, we always have some room where we can add people on. If you need to delete people off of your list, that's not something that you can do on your own, but we can take care of that. That QR code that you see on your screen is the link for the form that you can submit to delete people off of your registration. This far out, that can be done and without too much of a problem. As we get closer to camp, it's a more strict process because there's more fees involved, there's refunds involved, and all that may or may not meet the criteria of the refund policy. So again, right now that QR code will take you to the right form to get those spots narrowed down to what you actually plan to have attending. It would be better on our end if you are even if you're a little on the low side right now, but don't overestimate at the moment. If you have extra spots, please go ahead and have those removed so that we are looking at an accurate number as we continue to make plans. Look, if we have to make any adjustments to staffing or anything else based on the number of people that we have planning to attend. Once those numbers are right in the system, go ahead and add names to all of the spots that are reserved so that they're assigned to a person in the system, including the adults. Be sure to register your adults as well, both those that are attending full-time or those that might be attending part-time. So the system will allow you to register leaders for single days throughout the week. If they're only going to be there for 1 or 2 days, you can make that determination and make that mark in the online system to make sure that we know when those adults are going to be attending. And then obviously if a scout is paid up currently with the payment schedule, which right now on March 9th, that kicked over. So that means $250 paid. They can make their class selections or edits to their class selection if they did it prior. So we want to make sure that you're getting those scouts signed up for their classes early. That gives them plenty of time to work on prerequisites, know what classes they're attending and when those are taking place. It may not surprise you to know that every year at summer camp, we get kids walk in to our camp offices on Monday morning and have no idea where they're going. No idea what their class schedule is. So just make sure we're getting them signed up now so that they are aware of it. And then one other final step that we want them to take, or that we want to make sure that we mention, is getting special dietary needs submitted. There is an online form. Again, if you go to that stlbsa.org/camps, they can go to the blue drop-down box at the very top. It says camp resources and information, and there's a special diet request form that they will fill out. That goes to our food service company, who will ensure that those needs are being met. Want to remind that is not for preferences. This is talking food allergies, medical or religious needs for those special dietary needs. And if something is super restrictive and we cannot meet those needs, then we will make sure that we're providing storage and prep space for someone that might need to bring in their own supplies there. I'm going to grab that question that someone typed in, Kelly typed in here. So the question is, if an adult wants to take part in a merit badge that has an extra fee, such as motorboating, do they have to pay for that, and can they pay for it at camp? So most of those classes, especially the ones with the different water sports and all, fill up very quickly. So there may not be room for an adult to participate. The best way to go about that is, if an adult is wanting to help out with that class or be there for that class, they will just need to talk with our aquatics director upon arrival at camp, so that classes are finalized at that point, and they can really look at the availability in room essentially to make sure that it would be possible. There wouldn't be a fee for an adult that would sit in on a class, since they're not the ones taking the class and doing that. But that is how that would be handled if that case were to come up. Next, we're going to move on. Some additional information that we will have. So about 2 weeks or so, maybe a little more, prior to your arrival at camp, someone on the camp administration team, a lot of times it's the business manager from the camp, will send out what we call the program form. And this is a simple Google form that you fill out online that tells the camp a little bit more of the information that they need to help better prepare for your week at camp. So that could be requesting out and about trips that we can talk about here in a little bit. Requesting a time for Huck's Cove, the water park down on the south end of Nims Lake. Other things that we need to know to help prepare, the amount of equipment that you're using of the camps. You are more than welcome to bring your own tents and use those if you want to, but we also have the canvas tents, and I believe we're buying a lot more cots for this summer as well. So we've got those kind of things ready to go. But again, you could bring your own if you want. That's perfectly fine. Some scouts and leaders especially don't like to necessarily always use the canvas tents. So know that that will be coming out to the registration contact in Black Pug. So it may not go to the unit leader, because that's not always the person that's listed. So just know that that's going to be happening in the system. Next, we'll mention camp arrival and check-in, and I figure I may have questions on this, but I will do my best to explain why. If you read the leader's guide thoroughly, which I encourage you all to do, there is a section in there where it talks about arrival at camp and check-in. So upon arrival at camp, in years past, we've had a listing in there that it is essentially any time between 9 and 1 you can show up. Well, we've ran across that being an issue at different times. We technically don't have staff on duty that early in the morning, because they get about 24 hours or less off from Saturday into Sunday. So new for this year, we're asking that no one arrive prior to 12:30. That will allow us time to get the staff back on property or ready to go for the week, get them lunch, and get them out and ready to greet you, help guide you to campsites, have the troop counselors on the site ready to go at 12:30 when you get there. So again, it is a change for this year, but we think it will make your entire experience better if you're not trying to figure out where you're going and trying to find someone that may not even be on property yet, with that little bit of time that the staff get off from Saturday to Sunday. So arrive at 12:30 or after. We prefer you in that first hour or two. Try to get there by 2, so that we get everyone back into the campsites, get going with check-in, and the like. The leader's guide and other information will give you more details on what you do when you arrive. Plus, we're working on a new setup that even Jordan and Freed aren't aware of yet, of how this will look as you enter the property, and where you'll meet up with different people, and we'll give you good direction on where to go. So that'll be very helpful, especially if you've not been to the ranch before for a summer camp program. It can be an intimidating spot when you get there to know where you're going, but we're going to make that easier this year for everybody. Last topic, I've got one more after this. 2 topics that I've got, one being the BSA annual health form that you see on the screen there. Obviously, health forms are required for all of the attendees, and they must be on the actual annual health and medical record form. So it can't just be a copy of a school physical. It can't just be another form. It has to be on the BSA's form. So encourage your families, if they are going at any point in the year to get a physical, take that form with you so that you get that completed as well. If you are going to be attending for less than 72 hours, you only need parts A and B. That is the health history part that doesn't have the doctor's physical examination on part C. And that's so if you have a part-time leader that's coming in just for a couple days, that's the part that they need to have. Those forms all have to be completed within the last 12 months. So that goes until the last day of the month that it was done in the previous year. So as an example, if I had my physical on June 15th, 2023, that is good through June 30th, 2024. So as long as you're attending in June, you're set. So make sure that you're checking those dates. I encourage all unit leaders to collect those ahead of time and get that review started so that it's not the first time you're looking at them when we are at camp doing medical rechecks. We want to make sure that you have looked at those and that the dates are accurate. Make sure that all signatures are in place. Everything else is on there that needs to be. There are a few spots that people commonly miss, talking about allergies. There's a couple columns for allergies. People usually miss the right-hand column. All kinds of things. So just make sure that you're checking those for completion. And one other thing that came up last week in another meeting I was in, so I wanted to mention it tonight. Somehow, through the years, people got the impression that in order to swim at one of our camps, you had to have Part C. Well, that's not accurate. If you are going to be there under 72 hours, A and B is all that's required. You can still do a swim test and do swimming and aquatics activities. So just be aware that's not a true thing. If you ever heard that in the past, that's not one of our policies that's there. The other thing to mention on the health form, we really encourage you to take this process seriously. The health histories are very important, and we want your assistance talking to your other, mainly adults, but also youth, if they have ailments that could make some of the strenuous activities at camp more dangerous for them. They need to be aware of that and not take part in something that could stress them beyond what their bodies are able to handle. I myself, maybe you can't tell, but if you know me, I am not the smallest person on the scout ranch in the summer, and I know my limitations, and I have to step back every once in a while from doing something. And we really encourage you all to have that in mind as you approach summer camp and really make sure that people are not going above and beyond what they are physically capable of handling. We don't want to have any medical emergencies or the like. We're prepared for that if we have to, but again, we do rely on those doctors and people to certify that they are okay to do these activities as you would with any other. So just wanted to mention that tonight. Last thing I'm going to talk about before I kick it over to Jordan and Freed to cover program related things, pre-camp swim checks. We strongly encourage units to take advantage of doing a pre-camp swim check. This means going to a pool or other facility prior to camp and taking part in the BSA swim test with a certified lifeguard elsewhere. This can really speed up your check-in day at camp, where we're checking in hundreds of people and only have so many swimming areas, and the way the test is supposed to be done, it takes some time. To do this, the BSA does have a swim classification record that you can print and have that lifeguard, that qualified lifeguard, fill it out. Does not have to be a BSA lifeguard. It can be a Red Cross lifeguard, or if there's another equivalent organization, that's fine as long as they're a qualified, certified lifeguard. You will take that form, turn it in to the aquatics director at camp, or even you can talk with your troop counselor upon arrival, and we will get the correct buddy tags made up and ready to go for you. It's a huge time saver. I will mention our aquatic staff, if they see someone that is struggling a little bit, they may ask them to retest. That's up to that individual that's manning that area. We want everyone to be safe. Also, swimming at the ranch in Nims Lake can be different than swimming in a pool. So they may need to have that in mind as well. One thing I always mention when talking about pre-camp swim checks, the very first requirement of the BSA swim test is jump into water over your head. So you cannot do it in a tiny pool. You have to be able to jump into something that is deeper than you are tall. So keep that in mind when you're looking at facilities that have pre-camp swim check availability for you. All right. Freed, I think you were maybe typing, but it didn't.
Um, yeah, I
Go
was
ahead.
going to answer it, but then you said check-in it would change, and I didn't want
Sure. So we'll hit this one live as well. The latest your troop could reasonably arrive and check in. If you're driving up, I know you guys are coming from a little while away there, Ryan. Really the latest is more dependent upon you guys, what is comfortable for you to get there and get settled. Really, we serve dinner at 6:30 on Sunday, 6 through the rest of the week. So really, as long as you're there with enough time to get to dinner, that's okay. We also do have a few facilities, depending on the day that you're arriving, that should be available if a group was coming from a long distance and needed to check in, or not fully check in, but stay on site the night before. We have some Adirondacks and all that we can make available. We've got at least one or two groups doing that already that are coming from a long distance. That we don't have food service for them or any of that, but we can provide a spot where you can sleep for the night. And that kind of thing, if that is an interest to you, reach out to myself or Jordan, and we can work through that process with you. All right. I am going to let us get into more program related information where I can mute myself and let Jordan and Freed take control here. I'm also going to give Freed control to move the slides if he wants to,
to.
so that I don't have to
Okay.
keep doing that, and I will mute myself and you guys can go at it. If you need me to move a slide or anything, Freed, just let me know.
Okay, I will. Okay. Um, yeah, I don't know how to move. Oh, wait, here we go. I found it. There we go. Okay. So, a thing we're trying out this year, is the new block schedule. So, not all of our merit badges, but some of our merit badges have moved to this new schedule. So instead of having them per hour, they'll be in the morning or the afternoon. We've moved a lot of our aquatics merit badges that way. There's innovations. But yeah, so we moved a lot of our aquatics merit badges and like horsemanship, a lot of those really big um, ones that just take a lot of time, generally speaking. Um, and then that way it allows us to, especially with aquatics merit badges, we were wasting a lot of time with, everyone getting there. And then with boats, you have to get them out on the water. And then we've got to give them, 15 or so minutes to dry off and get into dry clothes before their next merit badge. So that'll be a lot easier with that. But then there'll only be 2 days a week instead of the normal four. So then you can kind of mix and match with that a little bit too. So you could do like two block in the mornings, and then you could fill up your afternoon with hourly ones if you'd like, and you can kind of make it your own adventure in a sense. Um, Sorry, I'm switching between a couple different things at the moment. Okay, there we go. Um, we also, yep, and then Friday is just our free day, um, in a sense. So we'll do, um, it's just merit badge makeup. So if you miss a day because of Huck's Cove or anything like that, you can go on Friday, and make up all the requirements that you missed, and you can still leave camp with all the badges you wanted as long as prereqs and everything are done. Matt, can you switch the slide to the buttons against the white background? I can't. Thank you. So then one of our programs, that's our first year program, we call it Wayfinder. So we divide it into each of the four, or yeah, the four first ranks. So Scout, Tenderfoot, second class, and first class. Um, with our Tenderfoot and Scout, we combine those into one session, just because it's a lot of the same basic skills that you're learning. So it's, a good introduction to flags, basic first aid and knots. And then we do a little bit of knife safety and then kind of functions of a troop and patrols. And then also just like the Scout sign, handshake motto, and all that fun stuff. If you want the number specific requirements for any of these, they're in the leader's guide. In the bottom of it is all of our merit badges and when we're doing them. So you can also see which merit badges or we're doing block with. Um, but then it tells you all the requirements we'll do in Wayfinder. Um, for our second class, it's a lot of more basic outdoor skills, not knots, knife safety. And then we also add in fire building and orienteering. And then there's also some flag ceremonies and just personal safety stuff in there as well. Um, then for our first class, it's just a lot of knots and lashings, so some basic pioneering stuff. And the second day is mostly emergency preparedness, and what to do in case of an emergency. So it's a lot of hands-on activities and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, and the entirety of Wayfinder is in a block schedule. Um, so you could even attend, like if you just joined the troop and then went to summer camp, then you can even attend all three and get a good portion of those first four ranks done. So
Yep. One thing I'll tag on there is just to mention, the staff will provide a listing of requirements that were covered in the class, but per the BSA advancement guidelines, we don't officially sign off on their books. But you are more than welcome to do that based on the instruction that they receive. But understand, sometimes those classes are big, and it's good to just work through that with those scouts. They will get good instruction on it, get time, especially with this change in schedule, to be able to practice those skills. But again, we don't officially sign those requirements off. We leave that to the unit leadership to do.
then Jordan, were you going to talk about Apex?
Sure, I can.
Okay.
Apex is our older scout program. This would be for 14-year-olds and up. This is a very flexible program. They could sign up for that, and there are different things that they could do. They'll do bike riding out at Swift. Our Apex director is linked to the ranch staff instead of the individual camps this year. That should help the communication between the program staff and the participants. So there's the bike riding up at Swift. There's going to be some hiking as well. They'll go do shooting sports and stuff out at Swift as well. That should incorporate some other different programs that they normally would not receive down at Gamble or Famous Eagle. And this is a back and forth kind of program. They'll leave Famous Eagle, they'll go do those programs, they come back. Our rock climbing programs is all through Apex. There's no additional fee with the Apex program. This is a very different experience than they would normally get there. Famous Eagle just taking the standard merit badges. This is an advancement of our program, which is different for them to be able to do. That's about it.
Yep, and we are working on finalizing that schedule. We work closely with Lisa Abernathy, our director at Swift, as well as the staff that we're bringing on board for the Apex program, and we really hoped to have that schedule out by now, but we were a little slow in getting applicants for the program to run the program, so we are working on that as we speak.
For the family night, which is on Thursday at 5 p.m., we could start having visitors of the scouts show up. And from there, the scouts can take them around camp. They can show them where they're sleeping. In addition to this, if the troop wants to eat in their campsite, they can. They can omit not eating in the dining hall, and then their families and all that can eat with them as well. We will not be serving meals in the dining hall to units that check off saying they will not. So there's no guests able to eat in the dining hall at that time. And this is also going to have a family campfire night. which will be at 8:15 on the schedule, as well as the OA call out ceremony thereafter. We're asking everyone to park in the parking lot up top there, kind of by the road. That helps keep traffic down because you're going to have a lot of people walking around camp during this time frame. We will have the Kubota available during camp as well, so that me or another staff member can come up and get any family member that has mobility issues and take them down to the site. I think that about covers it.
Sorry, I forgot I was unmuted. If you do have, or if you're attending Famous Eagle from out of council and wish to participate in that call out ceremony, that is perfectly fine. You can do that. Shawnee Lodge performs the call out ceremony at SBAR F at both of the camps there. But you can participate in that call out. You just need a letter from your home lodge telling us it's okay to do that. And then you will participate in the call out like the other scouts. The difference being for members of Shawnee Lodge, they then go and take care of the pre-ordeal that night. So if you're from another council, you won't participate in that part, but you can still participate in the call out.
You could still do the overnight if you want to.
Yeah, it just doesn't count for anything, so you'll have to
You
do
bet.
it.
So some of the merit badges that you would take have an additional fee to them, like space exploration, and that's because they're given the rocket to build while there, and the shotgun shooting as well, because it costs extra money for the ammunition and all that. So there are some fees. If a scout wants to change a merit badge while at camp, we can switch them out. And if there is a fee associated with their new merit badge, we can take payment there at the office or up at the trading post. All the kits and all that stuff do come into the camp so that we have those there. That way they're not getting sent to you ahead of time or anything like that. We have them there so that there's no lost merchandise and the kids can actually enjoy their product. That
Yep.
pretty much
So-
covers it there too.
Yep. So for things like wood carving, basketry, those kind of leather work, those kind of things where in years ago you would send the scouts to the trading post, they would buy their kit and then work on it. We're going to give them those kits as part of that class fee. It's essentially the same thing, but we're just taking care of the middle step. It gets the kids in class more instead of having scouts run to the trading post on Monday because they forgot to go get a kit. They'll be in their program area on Monday when they go for their first class. And ready to go for them.
Okay. So we're also going to have open swim and boat. That'll be in the afternoons, from 3 to 5. And then we'll have two different slots. So that way we can, each campsite will have their own time to go. Well, not their own time, but we'll split the campsites in half, and that way we don't have the entire camp in the aquatics area at one time. And then everyone can get a good amount of swim time. We don't have to turn people away. We also offer Huck's Cove. It's on the southern end of the lake, and we offer pontoon rides down there too. Um, they're a little limited, so it's going to be a sign up type of thing for the pontoon ride. But for Huck's Cove, that's going to be in the afternoon. Your troop can reserve a time at the office, and then throughout the week you can go. And there's a side with like two water slides on it that's fun, and then the other side is just like a rustic. There's like a rope swing, a little carousel thing, a zip line that ends in the water. Just a bunch of fun stuff. You can hang around and swim and do a bunch of fun stuff and experience everything we've got to offer. We also have out and abouts. So we after evening program and everything's closing up, you can take your troop, and we've got a couple different outpost campsites along the lake. So you can go with your troop counselor and you'll canoe out to one of those spots. Then you'll spend the night there, and in the morning you canoe back. And it's a lot of fun. I've done a couple when I was both on staff and as a participant. And they were, it was a good experience to get outside of your comfort zone a little bit. And yeah, and you can just play cards, do whatever out there, and just have fun. We also offer different evening programs. We're gonna try and rework a couple of them this year, just to keep changing things up so you guys still have fun. We'll probably still have Aqua Carnival on Wednesday, and then there'll be an open Scoutcraft night, an open nature night. We're gonna figure some stuff out through there. Our evening program and overall theme we're thinking is Olympics. So we're gonna have a competition throughout the week, and each area will have their own competition, and then there'll be a points system, and then at the end of the week, um, we're looking into doing awards and other things like that, and we've got a guy coming on that and then okay, well, I guess that brings me into my next point is some of the opening programs we're gonna have trying to do throughout the day. This is pending funding, but we're trying to have an area in Scoutcraft where we can just do some blacksmithing and um, have different tools, so we can have like a small axe yard and offer the fire shit and the totem shit. Granted, we're still trying to get funding for this, so it's a little on the fence, but if everything goes all right, then we'll have an area where we can do that, and then we'll be able to cast medals. So that way at the end of the week we can have like medals that we made at camp to award to you guys. And I think that'd be a cool idea. But we're working on it. So hopefully we can do it. Um, but yeah. Um, so yeah. I think that's everything. Jordan, am I missing anything?
Um, no, we're still working on the out and about as well. We're trying to get a hold of some backpacking stoves, so when you guys go out, instead of trying to rush through camp to be able to get to the canoes and then get out on the water, you'd be able to have a evening of cooking your own like one pot meal while out there as well. Other than that, I think you covered it all.
Okay. So yeah.
The free swim schedule is in the leader guide, so make sure you look at that. And I want to stress tonight, we offer a lot of stuff. You don't have to sign up and attend everything. And if you want to participate in free swim or have scouts participate in that open boating and open swim time, look at that schedule before finalizing their merit badge schedule. These options are all out there to help you build those programs with your scouts to make sure that they are making the most of their time. And so just make sure you're looking at that ahead of time. You'll know the campsite, know when that swim time is, so you can schedule around that. I will mention Jordan is sitting outside of a Nishikatan Lodge executive committee meeting at the moment. That's why it's getting dark in his car as it's disappearing a little bit on the screen. That is why. We also had a question come in. Do you need to send blue cards to camp, or are they electronic? All of the blue cards at any of our greater St. Louis area camps are done electronically. We actually will print them at the end of the week. You will get a printed one, but you don't need to bring a blank to camp to start. Our counselors will have the listings. They'll input everything into the computer, and then on Friday night, we print them all out and have them ready to pick up in your exit packets. Got a question that the scouts have paid in full and the merit badges they want are now full, now debating on coming or not. That won't qualify for a refund. If it is something that you can email Jordan and myself about, we can look and see if we have the availability to work in, maybe change a class size limit or something like that. We know I'm going to guess you're attending second week. That is a very busy week at the moment across all of our camps this summer. So it is possible. I would say reach out to us so that we can try to see what we can do to work with that. But refunds come into play for extenuating circumstances, sickness, things like that, not necessarily programmatically things. Chris has asked about trailers on the campsites. Yes, you will take your trailer to the campsite and drop it off for the week upon arrival. We encourage you to bring as much as possible to put into that trailer so that it's limiting how many vehicles need to go back to the campsite. One vehicle per troop per time, 2 campsites. During that check-in, we hope that they are all out by dinner on Sunday. so that then the campsites are empty of vehicles and get those out of the way. So you will be able to take it back and have it in the campsite for the week, definitely. If you have multiple troops on the same site, which almost everyone will, there'll be probably 2 on almost every campsite the entire summer, unless you have really big group and have that to yourselves, which does happen. So take that into account both upon arrival and getting that set on the campsite so you're not blocking everything off.
I can take this one.
Yep.
So for the Dutch oven cook-off, yes, you will need to bring your own supplies. You'll need to bring your own food products as well as the Dutch ovens and charcoal. We will have that on one of the evenings. I think it was on Wednesday night during Water Carnival, where the kitchen staff up there is the grades on that one. And we are going to have a medal that we'll award at the ending campfire for that as well. Typically, that is a dessert.
All right. Someone asked about electrical outlets for medical equipment. So at Famous Eagle, we have one campsite that is typically booked that does have electricity. None of the others do. For those that need those different, whether it be a CPAP or other things, a lot of times what they will do, they will either bring them up to the dining hall or the program hall where the office is and can charge things like battery packs and whatever they might need to do in that area, and then get them back out to the site. If assistance is needed, getting those out there, let the camp leadership know. I know some of those things are rather heavy. We'll see what we can do there. But most of the campsites don't have it, but we do have plenty of space, both at the dining hall and program hall, to charge any of those equipment needs that you might have. Stephen asked about leader training. Specifically, he asked about safety afloat and water safety adult training. Our aquatics areas are really busy throughout the summer, throughout each week of summer camp. So we don't offer those trainings in person at the camp. That said, if someone was wanting to take safety afloat, that one is available online completely at my.scouting.org, and we could make available a space for you to do that on the camp Wi-Fi that's in the dining hall, or utilizing one of the computers that the staff use to input their merit badge records at the program hall. We could make something work there. We don't have the more advanced water safety, the BSA aquatics and supervision courses that are offered currently. That said, we do offer a couple other leadership training that Bob asked about. So we will have introduction to outdoor leader skills happening during the week at camp, as well as an opportunity to complete your leader specific training. For the introduction to outdoor leader skills, you do not have to sign up ahead of time. There's no added fee for that. And I'll let Jordan jump in and explain or Freed, either one, explain how that will happen after I hit the leader specific training. The leader specific training will happen on, currently the plan is Wednesday afternoon in the dining hall at Famous Eagle, where we have trainers that come in each week and conduct that course to knock out that troop scoutmaster and assistant scoutmaster leader specific or troop committee leader specific training. That one, there is a sign up on the council website for that course, but you don't have to sign up ahead of time. The course itself is free, but you can choose to purchase the books that kind of go along with that. And those books would be the Troop Committee Guidebook and then the Troop Leader Guidebook, volumes 1 and 2. So 3 total books. I think the cost ends up being around $18 or $19 if you buy the books, but otherwise that training is free. Ice for insulin, ice for anything, really. So we don't charge units for ice. We do ask that you be reasonable about what you need. So, we have a very large ice maker. It keeps up well. But again, we don't want to just be wasting what we send out there. So ice is available. Talk to our dining hall staff and they can help out with that. A lot of times we'll have you bring the entire cooler around to the back and we can dump it in there. It's easier than bagging it and trying to get it to you that way. Because we don't have a freezer to stack it all in that we've got room for. If it is a medication that needs refrigeration, we can help with that as well in the camp office. There is a mini fridge that is behind locked doors, so that is available as well if we need to make that available for anything. And also that room itself, we've done some of those that have to be at room temperature. We've kept in there as well. I have lost my mouse. I blame Freed. Oh, it's on my other screen. That's why. All right. I can't find it again. I need to click done. Okay. Right now I don't see any other questions. Oh, hey, now we do. Let me get this pulled up here. James asks if leaders do have to take swim checks if they're going to swim. We can conduct it at camp, or you can do that as part of a pre-camp swim check if you would like. But if a leader is going to swim, they do have to take part in a swim test. So yeah, that one definitely we've got to do. Jordan, if you want to hit what's on the slide there, and then I'll keep going there.
Yes, we still have some staff opportunities at camp. In order to staff camp, you have to be 15 years old. The current jobs that we have open are not at the 15-year mark anymore because that's all full. We are looking for a couple lifeguards. They need to be 16 because it is in the lake. In addition to that, they've got to be strong swimmers. They'll get their CPR, their AED training, and their lifeguard certification as well over staff week. And the other two positions we have open are also down in aquatics, which are the boat drivers. They will be specific to teaching the boat-related merit badges, as well as running the boats. In this, they need to be 21 years old. No, 18. They need to be 18 years old, as well as taking the boater safety course for Missouri. And we will pay for that when they take it. Those are pretty much the only positions we have available currently at the moment. But if you have scouts that are still interested, please send them my way and we can talk about it and see if we can't work them in this year or prep them up for next year.
All right. We do have a few openings at other camps as well. So if you have someone interested, have them reach out or apply online and we will reach out to them. Daniel, who has an awesome last name, I just want to say that, has a question about how many tents and cots are available at each campsite. So let me explain a couple of things there. Each of the campsites at Famous Eagle has roughly 10 or 11 or 12 tent platforms that the canvas tents can go on, and then other additional tents go just wherever with wooden floorboards. There is not a set number at each campsite. That is part of that program form that we send out when we're verifying your numbers. The idea is that in the canvas tents that we will provide, it'll be a canvas tent, 2 cots, so 2 people housing those. We do not have the ability to provide individual tents to everybody in a troop. They have to be those shared. If you need individual tents, you would need to utilize your own for that purpose. But otherwise, it's based on how many people you are bringing. The campsites are rather large, especially some of them are really big and have plenty of room to spread out and get everybody on the site that needs to be. So again, it really does depend on the number that you're bringing. That's how many cots we'll provide. And then tents, again, 1 for every 2 people or so in that. And remember, when you are making those plans, that the BSA has that no more than 2 years apart in age for tenting together. Should be the same for buddy pair groups as well. So just keep that in mind as you approach camp. All right, we are pretty close to right at an hour, which is what we had hoped would be for tonight's webinar, as it would be for our pre-camp leader meeting. But I do again want to encourage, if you have any questions at any point, whether it be still tonight, so such as Tim's about, is hammock camping allowed? Yes. Hammock camping is allowed following the BSA's rules about hammock camping. There's a good safety moment listed on the BSA's website about hammocks. It's essentially do not stack them. That is against BSA policy and dangerous to boot. I've never said to boot in my life until now. That was fun. But it is allowed. It can be done. Many of the sites we see that kind of done along the edges of the campsites throughout the summer as more and more individuals are interested in staying in a hammock for the duration of camp. So that's perfectly fine. It is allowed. But again, the conversation doesn't have to stop tonight. If you have other questions that do come up, myself, Jordan Freed, we are our resources for you. Excuse me, as well as our council help desk at that help@stlbsa.org. Always feel free to reach out to that. And we have got some of the great support staff in our program department that will answer those questions relatively quickly. If they need to escalate it to one of us, they will, so that we can take care of answering your questions as quickly as possible. So not seeing, this is what will happen. I will say this and then one will pop in, but not seeing any other questions at this point. We will go ahead and wrap up. Jordan Freed, do you have anything you want to add before we close out?
I don't think so. Jordan?
Nope, I think I'm set.
All right. So on behalf of Jordan Freed, the rest of the Camp Famous Eagle staff, and our entire Greater St. Louis Area Council, we are thrilled to have you attending Camp Famous Eagle this year. Really looking forward to it, whether you're coming in June or July. We're looking forward to having a great summer with you at the ranch. And again, you can review this webinar online. We'll try to get that posted hopefully tomorrow. I will be able to get that online, so you can share it out with other leaders and refresh your memory if you have anything that you want to see. So thank you again very much for joining us, and we hope that you have a great night. Thank you.